Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Jeremy Scott Fitness Podcast Radio Show, coming to you on this Sunday, February the 23rd, 2025. Hopefully it finds you staying safe and staying sweaty all at the same time. On today's episode, I don't even know what we're talking about. I'm just going to start some sentences and just see where the day takes me. Honestly, Heather had planned to be here, but she had a baby shower yesterday, and she is feeling under the weather. I think she has like the monkeypox or bird flu or something. But either way, she couldn't make it in today, so here I am on a journey with all of you. We're going to talk about the Mantathlon Advanced Challenge here. We're going to talk about our Triathlon Challenge here in-house and our Erg Ironman. Basically, these are the best, worst workouts you've ever done, or maybe you've never tried, or maybe something you want to put in your back pocket for a later day. All of these workout challenges are on the Jeremy Scott Fitness app. You guys can dig them in there. I'm going to walk you through here. I believe I've shared each one of them on Instagram and YouTube individually if you search them. But I'll go through in detail today. And if nothing else, give you guys a challenge to kind of rock through maybe sometime this week in your own training. But housekeeping things off the bat. One, my internet it's on a different journey today. Shout out to Cox for being worthless, everybody. Cox is not a sponsor of the Jeremy Scott Fitness Podcast, everyone. But our Old Man Strength Challenge is kicking off here in 13 hours. So if you guys want to join and get down with us, you got 13 hours. We'll start on Monday promptly. Everything should be loaded inside the app today. Again, this is 10 weeks in length. If you're an older dude, I would say 35 and older, but certainly 40 and over. This is the program for you. If you're still looking to get stronger in the safest way possible, there's no axle loading, no major spine loading, if you will, in the program. Everything is dumbbell work. You guys can crush this from just about anywhere. It's ideal if you have gym access or awesome, hopefully home gym access. But if you're looking to get strong, also focus on hypertrophy, building muscle, looking the way that you want, and the mobility piece squeeze in a safe, efficient way. No matter what age you are, this is a great program. Is it easy? No. By all means, it is definitely challenging if you load it right, but I do it in the safest way possible, building in the rest recovery, the mobility, the walking, rucking, and all the stuff that I think is important, not only to get strong, but to stay strong and increase as you guys age. So the link is in the show notes right now. You have 13 hours to join us as we kick it off as a challenge. So it's just jeremyscottfitness.app/oldmanstrength. Pick it up. If you have a question, hit me up. Otherwise, I will see you savages inside tomorrow. And obviously, you guys always can get a week for free of the app and check out everything else inside there. But obviously, the Old Man Strength is a 10-week challenge where everybody is a badass if you guys go through it. And we're doing an awesome giveaway at the end where these Old Man Strength Club shirts and a couple other little prizes for you that you cannot buy. You can only get these if you complete the program and kind of finish the entire protocol and graduate. We'll do pre-testing before the program starts. We'll do a midpoint kind of midterm check-in test, and then obviously like a capstone week with a kind of final exams, if you will, to graduate you guys and get you in the Old Man Strength Club. So check it out if you want to get down with us there. Also, quick shout out to my friends at AG1. You guys know the one thing I take every single day and I never miss. If you don't eat enough fruits and vegetables, you're tired of taking 15 different pills, you're sick of your typical drink you're taking or your multivitamin that's really not doing its job, this would be the thing I would invest in. If you're only going to take one supplement and buy one thing, this would be the one thing I would take. drinkag1.com/Jeremy Scott right now gets you a year's supply of free vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with order one. People ask, why do I take it? One, I don't eat 10 to 12 servings of fruits and veggies a day. I'd like to. I just don't do it. Also, for the prebiotics, the probiotics, and the digestive enzymes in there, as well as vitamin C and the zinc for obviously the immune system to kind of kick any stuff that comes your way. But really, for me, it's the easiest health hack that I do. It takes all of 30 seconds. I like the taste of it. I slam it and I'm on my way. And at least that way I know I covered the gaps in my eating. So I got a lot of the micronutrients in, and then obviously I eat as much real food as possible. That's always the key. If you're not spending money on the food you're eating, if you're eating trash every day, it's probably not worth it. But if you're somebody who cares about their health and you're like, I really want to optimize what I'm doing, this would be the one thing I would put money into. So hit me up if you want a free sample. Maybe you've heard other people talk about it, you've seen it somewhere, or you've heard me say it, 55 different times. And this is the day you want to give it a shot. So hit me up. I'll send you some free samples right to your house. I just need your name and mailing address. We'll get you guys some. And if you like it, you get hooked up with all the free stuff from there. So just drinkag1.com/Jeremy Scott. And you can pick it up today or ask for the free sample, and Monica will send you out a bunch tomorrow. Top of that, quick message to our homies at Substance Nutrition, where I get my creatine. Also, their coffee blend is great. They do get a good protein powder as well. Code JSF10 for 10% off there always. Again, creatine, you guys, 5 grams a day. Pretty simple. Wash, rinse, repeat. Ton of benefits, not just in terms of performance and obviously, acquiring muscle on your body, but the cognitive benefits are great as well. And then my friends at JLab Pro, where you get our protein, turmeric, collagen, and krill oils, jeremyscottfitness.jlabpro.com. And you guys can hit me up. We usually always have a discount on the protein and the collagen as well. All these are in our supplement guide. So if you want to check them out for free, just hit me up. I'm happy to send that to you guys so you can have it. Review all of our kind of trusted partners and people we work with. And if you got a question, just ding me from there. So I'm going to try to keep this relatively quick here today for you guys. But before I even jump into the workouts themselves, I did find a couple pieces of gold here this week on my feed. And now, since Cox is such a great internet provider, I don't know if I can find them on my phone here, but I think they're going to be here. All right, let me take a look. So before I dive into the workouts, I do want to share this. Mike Samuel put this out. Mike's a great copywriter. If you're looking for a copywriter, he's one of the best in the biz. But he wrote this the other day. I'm going to kind of just fuck my way through it here because I read like a 7-year-old, but I want to give it to you guys because I do think it's important. And it just goes for service businesses, small businesses, the people that you interact with on a daily basis, the people that kind of make up the backbone of America and the economy and what we do here. And it's strange to me because you'll roast a small business sometimes when you go there and maybe the experience wasn't great once off the bat, yet you'll go through a drive-through of these shitty chain restaurants and they'll fuck up your order, 14 times, yet you'll still go there for decades at a crack. And all I'm saying is like you have to really understand, like when you walk into a small business or you go to somebody's website or you go to their Instagram page or their YouTube, that's their dream for the most part. That is their life's work. You're visiting their dream. You're stepping into something that is important to them and it's personal to them. And they're, for the most part, now, is there lazy people out there? For sure. Is there people that shouldn't be in business? For sure. But for the most part, these people try and they give a shit and they're trying to deliver their best to you, and if they know better, then they do better, and it's like they're always trying to give you the best, I guess, service and the best product that they can. And I preface that just to read this. And this is from Mike Samuel. The next time you think your hairdresser is too expensive or you get annoyed at your accountant's prices as they rise, or you just can't understand why a plumber wants $250 for only being there for quote unquote 20 minutes. Just remember the ghost tax that they have to pay. And the ghost tax would be the cost of their training and their qualifications. The eye-watering accounting fees just to handle their convoluted taxes. Any small business owner knows that the tax system is just a complete shit show. Side note, I was just at my accountant's on Friday, and she's the nicest lady. And I know she respects what I do, and she would never say this, but sometimes I feel like we're in the scene from No Country for Old Men, where Anton Chigurh goes into the gas station, and the old man is working behind the counter, and the old man's kind of getting nervous, and he's trying to get him out of there, and Anton looks at him, and he's like, "You don't know what you're talking about." And he repeats it 3 times. He's like, "You don't know what you're talking about." I feel like that's what my CPA wants to say to me in that exact voice every time I talk there, because I have no fucking clue what I'm doing in terms of taxes. But the point is, that's part of the ghost tax that small business owners pay. On top of that, the mandatory business licenses, where you might not even use them, but you have to have them, which is totally ridiculous. Or the insurance premiums that they pay, or the data protection fees, even if you don't personally hold data, oftentimes you have to pay these. The software for emails, the booking of calls and videos, the stuff that we can't live without as a business owner in 2025, the training and the continuing education. The list really goes on. Now, granted, a lot of this doesn't go directly to, let's say, the government, but they add so much red tape to all this, which not only adds more shit that we have to deal with, but means that people and companies, you're paying also again and again through this corporate taxation. And let's not forget that the tax on business owners you pay is not being entitled to sick leave or getting annual holidays and time off, or when people cancel, or when people don't show up, or when people decide not to pay. That's why the next time you start to complain about a business being too expensive, just think about how expensive it is for them to just do the job that they're giving it to you. And then he wrote, P.S., all taxation is theft. The dude's a fucking all time. He's a savage. But I share that just for the fact of I don't really think, and obviously like the small business owners I work with here, and again, small to medium-sized business, you're talking probably people under 50 employees, under 100 employees for sure. It's more than you think for people. So when you go to your hairdresser, you can go to your coffee shop, when you go to your kids' daycare, you go to your little local veterinarian, or you go to, your dog sitter, whatever it may be. Just give them some grace, because it's a lot more than you think it is. And most of them are doing their best, but it's not an easy game. I've lived it for damn near 20 years at this point, and I've been lucky. And I do it because I give a shit, and I do it because I love it. But if I was smarter, I would have picked something different and made way more money and worked way less. But here I am, just a dummy in a warehouse, still doing fitness. But side note, I also saw this great post on Coca-Cola, which is completely fabricated and not true, but is very motivational, and I'm going to share it with you guys. It's this Dave Smith, CEO guy on LinkedIn that him and I are connected, and he kind of wrote, whenever you feel bad, just remember that Coca-Cola only sold 25 bottles in its first year. Never give up. And that's a super motivational story. Like, man, Coca-Cola only sold 25 bottles in its first year. It's actually horseshit. They sold way more than 25 bottles in their first year. But the company itself was not profitable when it began. John Pemberton, the founder, made actually about $50 the first year after like all of the accounting fees and advertising fees and everything else. So it wasn't profitable, although they did sell a shit ton of bottles still. The point being is, if the first year Coca-Cola was in business, they only made $50 in profit. And fast forward to today, Coca-Cola sells about 2 billion servings of Coke every fucking day in 200 countries. That is a pretty staggering jump. And that's not to say like your dream or your side hustle or your small business will go from making $50 in year one to making $2 billion in product a day in 100 years. But it just goes to show you, like, everything starts small. Nothing at first seems like it's going to make it, and everything is going to be a struggle. But that's part of it. It's peaks and valleys. That's what any of this is. If it was easy, you ever watch like The Town, Ben Affleck and Jeremy Renner? Like, they're going to rob Fenway, and Ben Affleck looks at him and he's like, "This is going to be a motherfucker, you know that." And Jeremy Renner looks at him and he's like, "If it was easy, kid, everybody would do them." Like, if bank robberies were easy, like, everybody would do it. Like, if starting a business was easy, everybody would do it. But it's not. It's few and far between. It's like getting in really good shape. It's tough to do. The beginning sucks. You work really hard. You try to eat right, but nothing really changes. And you put in all this effort for 2 weeks, and you still look and move and feel the same. And it sucks. And it feels like it'll never change, but it will. That's the same thing with your small business. It's the same thing with anything you start. Start playing piano today. You suck, dude. Like, and you may never sound like, Brian McKnight, but at some point you're going to get better for sure. So it's like, that's any skill acquisition you do. You just got to start, keep it moving, and eventually you guys can get there. So that's my little pre-takeaway for this episode. Now, on to the Mantathlon itself. I have this in a couple different spots. Again, shout out to Cox for not having internet that works today. They're getting a lot of plugs today, not in a good way. If you can tell my frustration, you pay all this money. They keep raising. It's like the internet fees. They keep raising them. At what point do we say like we won't pay them, or is it just like forever? They just know. Like my bill here probably started at like $80, Now I think I pay like 150. So it's doubled. What are they going to tell me next month? It's 155. I'm going to tell them no. I don't need the internet today. Like I do. It's basically a utility at this point. It's like having the internet in your business is like having a toilet. You know, like if people couldn't come in here and take a piss or shit, like it would probably cause a problem at some point. You know, like, nah, you guys got to go out back, like, or in the dumpster. It just doesn't work. But if your business doesn't have like Wi-Fi or the internet, it seems like it'd be just as catastrophic. So anyways, I'm on my old man rant shit today, but I digress. The Mantathlon workout. And again, this can be done by women too. So can the Old Man Strength Program. It's not specific to women or men. Anyone can do it. But this is not my original workout. This comes from Martin Rooney, is the originator of this from Training for Warriors. I think he based it off of like the pentathlon and some of that stuff. If you go back, like, you know, javelin and disc throw, like the original exercises, if you will. Funny side note, Sean, our cameraman, is here. And one time, him and I had to film like 100 videos for Livestrong. And I agreed to him before reading what the videos were because I was young and stupid. And I'm like, I can do anything. And one of the videos was a biathlon, which is skiing and shooting guns at the same time. I've shot many guns in my life. I have skied before, never at the same time, as you can imagine. So filming that and how to train for that, really I had no business in doing that. But that's a funny side note here. Don't agree to shit that you don't know how to do. Everybody, a little life lesson from Jeremy today. But this original, it's kind of like this, it was like a Train Like a Man series that Martin Rooney did back in, I believe, like the 2012, 2013 kind of time frame is when I stumbled upon this. And it is a very difficult workout. Now, again, women can do it. I don't have the scale for women on this. I do think it would be a little bit tougher. This is all upper body centric. The other two workouts I'll share, they're both tough, but the Ironman for females is probably better than the triathlon. But ladies, by all means, you can rip through and do this. Here's the workout itself. The rules for the Mantathlon are this. Essentially, what you're going to do is, well, let me go through the workouts first, I guess. The exercise itself. So the events. It's number 1, body weight bench press for reps. So I'll use myself as an example just because I'm here. If I weigh 200 and let's say 10 pounds today, the bench press will be 210 pounds. And that's what I'm trying to do. And everything is based off a 20 rep scheme. So the possible score you can get is 100. And again, I can put some of this in the show notes for you guys, but you do 5 events. A perfect score would be 100 points. And the first event is you start the clock, you let 20 minutes run. You do body weight bench press for reps. So if I'm 210, it's 210 pounds there. Dumbbells or barbells are fine. And it's how many reps can you get as close to 20 as possible, but you only get one set. So it's not like you can take multiple chances. So if you do a set and you only get 10 reps, 10 is your score for event 1. The next event is body weight chin-ups for reps. So you guys go to a bar, you hang, full dead hang, full chin up, chin over the bar, full dead stop at the bottom, come back up. You get as close to 20 reps as you can, but you only get one shot. So if you get 18, 18 is your score for that. The next one, you do half your body weight for overhead pressing reps. So again, if I'm 210, that's a 55-pound dumbbell in each hand, and I'm just overhead pressing. As many reps as I can, as close to 20 as possible, but I only get one set. If you get 19, that's your number. The next one is 1.5, your body weight dips for reps. So it's heavier than just your body weight. So for me, 1.25 is me adding a essentially 55-pound. What I did with it is a 45-pound plate and a small tent. That's what I added for dips. So I put a weight belt on, or you could put a ruck vest. Any of those work. I just like the old school. I feel kind of like a badass when I put the old school weight belt on, Arnold style. And I add the 55 pounds, and you do as many dips as you can. Again, just one set, as close to 20 reps as you can get. If you get 20, there's your perfect score. And then the last one is half your body weight barbell curls for reps. If you only have access to dumbbells, dumbbells work. So again, if I weigh 210 pounds, it's loading up a barbell with 105 pounds and doing full range of motion curls. If you get, let's say, 17 on that, 17 is your score. And you get one attempt of max reps during the competition. That's it. So hopefully I made sense what I'm saying. Now, once you start your bench press test, that's when the clock begins. So you have a timer up, 20 minutes is the ding, and boom, you go. So you have 20 minutes to complete all of the tests. Any repetitions completed after the 20 minutes have elapsed do not count towards the point total. And you must perform the tests in order. But the rest you take in between the tests is going to be up to you. I suggest when you guys do this, 3 to 4 minutes between each test, but keep an eye on the clock so you don't run out of time, obviously, for the curls. And really how you do it is you start by just weighing yourself on a scale. I don't think guessing cuts it at this point. You want it to be as perfect as possible because obviously if people guess on their weight, they magically seem to lose like 10 pounds before this thing kind of begins. And it's the only time when typically dudes want to be lighter, right? It's like, oh, I only weigh 185 today. I'm like, well, if you're really 197, I'm like, it does make life more difficult. And so since the event is kind of based on body weight, it's a good reminder just to kind of like see where you're at weight wise and like what you can do with your body weight and see like how much of your weight you can move through space and how strong you are relative to obviously the load that you carry. And then again, obviously, I would tell you guys, obviously I'm a huge mobility guy, so mobility, but get a good warm up in, obviously before testing the bench press. At least push-ups, do some hangs, get the shoulders loose, maybe just even ride a bike for a minute or two, get a good sweat going. And obviously since each event is different, I'd suggest like a few kind of light reps before you start the workout itself. If you don't want to waste it during the work period, that's totally fine. What I typically tend to do in like the pre-routine to this is I'll go through, I'll do my hangs, I'll do my pull-ups, like on the assault bike just for 2 minutes, not to tire myself out, but just to get my heart rate up, get a sweat going. Maybe do 2 or 3 chin-ups, I'll do a couple of overhead presses and just a couple of dips just as a check-in to see how I feel. And that's it. And then obviously you kick off with bench press, then you go to the chin-up, then you go to the overhead press, then you go to dips, then you go to the curls. Now, if we're talking like form stuff, if you guys are listening to this, I shouldn't have to walk you through the form and what it looks like. But obviously, you can do shittier reps and juice up the score, and then you have to live, what's the George Costanza? It's not a lie if you believe it. But it's a lie. Like, if you're really kind of bullshitting yourself, you want these to be perfect quality range of motion reps because the idea is you're going to test and retest at some point. Now, if it's bench press, right? Ideally, you get the bar or the dumbbells to touch your chest and then like pretty much a full lockout at the very top. And so you can pause at the top to get a full range of motion extension. If we're just down here like half repping, it's much easier. So touch the chest, full extension up top. That's our bench press reps. In terms of chin-ups, shoulder width, grip or less, and you must get your chin over the bar and lower down for a complete hang. Like for like a split second would be great. You can hang longer if you want to, but obviously fatigue becomes a factor. If somebody can be there with you and actually like just stop you, at the stomach, boom, rep. Boom, rep. Just so you're really not using the momentum of it, that's kind of the goal. It's like a full dead hang chin up. Obviously, if we're going overhead press, I think you have to lock out the elbows at the very top, come back to the bottom for a quick pause, whether they touch the anterior shoulders, that'd be great. And you're not re-racking at any point. You're going, again, because you only get one rep. Same thing for the dips. You complete the top extended portion and the lower extension. I think you have to go past 90 degrees on the angle. If you can't get your bicep to touch your forearm, that's fine. But I think breaking 90 is critical for you guys. And again, the full extension is ideal. And you can pause at the top of the rep and hang out as much as you want, but your feet can't touch the ground and you can't release the grip. And obviously, failure to execute that, it ends the set itself. So once you start, you are in it. And obviously, last but not least, when it's the barbell curls for me are the toughest, and I'll talk about scoring in a second. Whether you use barbell or dumbbell, I do for this, I do like the barbell. I feel, especially when you get fatigued, it's just easier to hold it and control it. But the barbell, ideally to the height of your chin and lower to full extension, again, for that 1 second. No swaying, no lean the back, going crazy. You can't release the bar. You have to be as fixed as possible. Leaning your back up against a wall really is how this should be done. Or if you have a squat rack, you can put your spine against a squat rack. That's fine. We have our cinder block walls here. That's how I do it. Now, if I could swing and sway, I could get a perfect 20 on the curls. But the curls, admittedly, for me, are the toughest. And so that is the workout itself. And again, if you guys missed anything, it's all your favorites. It's nothing complex. It's bench press, body weight chin-ups, half your body weight for overhead pressing, 1.5 your body weight for dips, and obviously half your body weight for barbell curls. It's the bro split of all time. Now, it's important. If you reach 20 reps of any exercise, that's the max score. Even if you can do more than 20, it doesn't matter. You're capped out there. So you can't do, let's say, 26 reps of bench press, which for some of you guys who are, heavy bench heads, you're probably able to do that. But you can't add like those 6 reps then to dips or curls. So 20 is the cap. That's all you can get. So once you performed all 5 events or you run out of time, you add up the total number of reps, and the total score to 100 is the ultimate goal for the test. And then there's a rating score. So 0 to 10 is kind of like your low man on the totem pole. This is, again, it's an old article that Martin had put out. These are his names for it. This is not me. So if you score like 20 and you are a salty bitch at home and you want to complain to me, I'm just reading here. It's not my thing. And again, if you even try it, I think you're amazing. So just take that with you and then cry, on the bench press after this. So 0 to 10 is kind of low man on the totem pole. So if you only scored 10, that's where you're at. 10 to 20, he calls it skinny man. 20 to 30 is what he calls average man. 30 to 40, he puts wingman as the score. That's great. 40 to 50 is doorman. 50 to 60 is athletic man. 60 to 70 is he-man. 70 to 80 is superman. 80 to 90 is mega man. And then 90 to 100 is his kind of man of war, is kind of the name he gives for that. So you're basically scaling on that 10-point scale. So what does that mean? This is not the end-all be-all of fitness by any means. It's just a fun test to do to see where you're at in terms of upper body strength, in terms of, your weights and your strength and your endurance. It's a measure of fitness that we rarely test. During the classic strength and power test, we don't do this. But I do think it's something fun to do. And you can argue success in this event requires strength and endurance, but to rep out your own body weight on bench press, you do have to be really strong too. It's just the truth. If you're a guy and you weigh 230, to do 20 reps at 230 is fucking legit. If you're a guy who's 175 and you do that 20 times, it's super legit. I think in terms of, yes, strength is a key here. Endurance is a key here, but adding the element of time, it is tough. And there's a mental piece to that too. And I do think if you guys try this, you'll find the clock ticking. And it'll create a point during the event where you might want to just give up mentally and give in because the breathing is heavy, it's erratic, and you're not being able to catch your breath. And it's tough for you. And there will be reps that you don't get the first time. Not because they're not possible, but because you're not able to access that mental stamina and dig them out yet. And as your scores improve due to familiarity with the test, and you kind of know how to pace it better, and you know where not to, for lack of a better term, kind of blow your load, you'll have the mental toughness, which will benefit you and your strength gains as you train and kind of move forward. So if I talk through the test personally here, the most I've ever scored on this is a 90. I can get like a 90. I don't know if I ever got a 91. I've got 90 a bunch of times. That will be I guess that's the low end of the highest tier. I can't get a full 100. Either I'm too heavy or I'm not strong enough or I'm, mentally just weak, I guess. I don't really know what it is. For me personally, to go through and do the entire bench press, that I can do. I can get a 20 on the bench press pretty much every time. The chin-ups for me, I can do the chin-ups pretty much every time or get very close. So for me, chin-ups is usually within 3 reps or the 20 reps. So I've gotten the 20 before, and I've gotten like a 17 before. The overhead press for me, it's tough to get a 20. It's really rough. I do usually struggle on that as well, usually about between 18 17, 18 is typically where I kind of end up for that. And then the dips, I pretty much get 20 on the dips every single time. For whatever reason, that tends to be my thing. That and the bench press aren't the insanest ones for me. But honestly, the one that gets me the most is the curls. Believe it or not, even though every day in my head is arm day, it's really not. It's not how I train. It's not what I put most of my focus on in training. Maybe when I was like a younger dude, and I wanted to look good for the ladies, and then I figured out ladies didn't care if my biceps were jacked. It was only for other dudes. I didn't spend as much time doing it, even though I still think it's cool. But the barbell curls for me, there's been times where I can barely get to 15. So that's where I eat it most of the time. I think the best I've ever gotten is maybe 16, but there's been times where the barbell curls, I'm at like 14, 13, 14, 15, somewhere in there. And if you're scoring at home to get in the 90s, if I'm eating 5 or 6 reps on one event, I pretty much have to perfect score out the rest of the way. So that is in terms of me. Now, obviously the curls are at the very end. Admittedly, I've never done this in a different order because this is the order of the test, and having the bench press be first obviously is super helpful, but that's where I score. So if you guys give it a shot at home, it is on the app as well. You guys can find it probably in either upper body workouts or Metcon workouts. Just type in Mantathlon, it'll be there. But it's a great test for you guys to try. And honestly, I think any guy who does this, regardless of age, if you are, excuse me, this Metcon today is killing me. If you're over 50, I think it's a pretty good score. I think 50 to 60, you're doing pretty well. If you're in that 60, 70 range, that's awesome. Anything over 70, I want to say is like advanced. Anything over 80 is elite. And if you're in 90, you're probably a dummy like me and you've spent, most of your life inside a gym. You're a gym rat, if you will. And you happen to be super strong and you love this stuff. So that is the Mantathlon in a nutshell, if you guys do want to give it a try. I'm going to move through these other ones pretty quick because I don't want to keep you guys here all day. The triathlon that we do in-house here. Now, it's a tri-sprint is what we do. This workout is aerobic in nature. The next two I'm going to share are both. One is a sprint format, so more for you power guys like type 1 stuff. And the second one is just a pure guts Prefontaine, pure guts race, endurance based. The triathlon we do here in-house, I got this from, I think Jim Jones was the originator of it when Bobby Maximus was there running that place. It is 50 cals on the assault bike. It is a 500-meter ski and a 500-meter row as fast as humanly possible. So you set the clock and you do those 3 events back to back to back. If you need rest time, that's all included in this. And so it's whenever you're done with all 3 events and you hit stop, that's your time. The elite level here is 5 minutes or less in terms of just that's like straight savage mode. The fittest people, most of the fittest people members I have here end up doing this at about 6.5 minutes, which is insanely fast. If you're under 7 minutes, you are a very fit human being. I want to say, I don't know. I don't have Lindsay's time in front of me. It's out there. She did it. And she is like, she must have a lot of childhood trauma because she is insanely fit and works very hard. She's the fastest female I've ever had do it here. And I want to say she was at like 7.5 minutes, which for a female is fucking bonkers. But I would say when you guys start the assault bike, always first. Do not keep the assault bike for last. The assault bike first. Me personally, I go assault bike, ski, and row. The fastest time I've ever done it is 4 minutes and 54 seconds. I had a kid work for me for 3 years. His name's Alec. Shout out to Alec Frank. He's a psychopath. He did it in 5 minutes and 17 seconds. So he's 20 seconds behind me, which seems like a lot, which it is, but we're not that far apart. And my personal take is if you can do each one in about 90 seconds plus the transition time, you can get under 5 minutes. Now, you have to do the assault bike cals in under 90 and you're fresh. That's not as bad. It's the ski and the row at that 130, like 130, 132 pace that stays with you. And you start to feel violently ill about halfway through the ski. So you do the assault bike and you get off. It's so fast, you don't even realize how sick you are yet. It's adrenaline and I guess just being a big dummy. But about halfway through the ski, you kind of are questioning your life choices. And then you're just visiting your pain cave for the next, I don't know, probably 3 hours. Like when I get done with the triathlon here, I lay on the ground like someone kicked me in the nuts for a good like 45 minutes. And then usually I kind of, when you were a kid, you did like stop, drop, and roll. You kind of just roll across the gym floor and then barely get up and then use the bathroom. And then I drive home and I'm a complete bag of shit. That's a day ruiner. Like the triathlon is something that ruins your whole day. So if you're listening to this and you're like, yeah, I got this work meeting in 3 hours, I'm going to give this a try. Don't do that. This is not for that. This is when you have, time away from your family. When you don't have any responsibilities. This is not when your wife's asking you to come home and be a human and communicate with other people. This is you're done for the day, and you have nowhere else to be, and you had a shitty day, your boss yelled at you, your dog died, something went wrong, and you just want to unleash fucking hell on something. This is what this workout is for. So anybody under 5 minutes, you're insane. Most elite people 6:30, and then anything under 7 minutes I think is very, very respectable. You have to really try and you got to push yourself because very few humans can do that. So again, assault bike 50 cals, 500 ski, 500 row, all three as fast as you can. Track it for time. Let us know how you do. And then the last one that we do here is just a straight guts race. It's the Prefontaine. How long can you go and how fast of a clip can you go at? And it's our Erg Ironman. And so we use all Concept 2 stuff. It is a 5K ski. It is a 5K row, and it is a 10K bike, all on the Concept 2 ski, Concept 2 row, and on the Concept 2 road bike. Now, the 10K on the bike is the equivalent to the 5K and the ski and the 5K and the row because the meters are 2-to-1. So in your head, if you're doing 2-minute splits, now if you guys are familiar with concept stuff for the 500 meters, that's what I'm talking about, 2-minute splits here. Those splits, that would put you at 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes. So if you skied at a perfect 2-minute split pace for 20 minutes, that's 20 minutes time. Same thing for the row, same thing for the bike, which with the transition times is going to put you over the 60 minutes. So you would fail the challenge. The goal here is to do 1 hour or less in-house. Now, full disclaimer, there's only been 3 people here that have done this challenge in less than an hour. Myself, my man Brian, who worked for me for years, who the kid is just a fucking unit, and then my man Jeremy Williams, who is done a bunch of Ironmans and he's got a lot of trauma to pull from in his life, so he can do it as well. So we're all on a journey. And then the 2 closest people who failed, my boy Alec, who worked for me for years, he did, I think, 60 minutes and 30 seconds. And then my good buddy Jeff Wirtz, who's insanely fit as well, I think he did 60 minutes and 40 seconds. So he misses it by 40 seconds, which all very respectable, all very tough to do, and insanely hard. I have yet to have a female go through it. I have not found one that is as dumb as us men here. I've had a lot of guys do this. Even my dude Eric, who's super fit here, was like 63 minutes. I think he'd be faster now. It's very tough to do. It definitely is a challenge of endurance and will. In terms of the order you would do them in, if you guys have access, and if you ever come here and visit and you want to spend an hour here, feel free. We'll give you something for your efforts. And if you beat my time, I got something super special for you. Honestly, if you make it under an hour, we'll do something awesome for you here. But I personally bike, and then I ski, and then I row. Most of the people here do not do it that way, but I hate the Concept 2 bike. I'm not a road bike guy. I don't enjoy it. It's the thing I'm probably the slowest at. And then I ski. And then for me, the row is where I can, obviously I'm seated, and that's just the thing I'm naturally better at and faster at. So if I have to, quote unquote, make up time, I can do that. Now, I usually bike it in about 19-ish minutes. I usually ski in about 19-ish minutes too, maybe 19 and some change. Same thing for the bike. And then the row, I can fly a little bit. And the fastest time I've ever done it in, I believe, is 58 minutes and 56 seconds. So I made it with 1 minute and 4 seconds to spare. And I've done it multiple times because Jeremy Williams beat me once, and then I got to, do the ego check, and I got to be like, well, my dick is bigger, so let me get on top of you on the board. And I try to do that here when I can. And then sometimes these guys beat me, and it's just too ridiculously fast, and I can't beat them. But that was a case where like I could make up the distance. But it's really, really tough for me. Now, I'm very proficient in rowing and skiing, and I can ride a bike, good enough to get through. But that is an insane endurance test. And again, you can mix and match these. You can make them your own. You could cut them in half and say, I'm going to do, 2,500 meters and a 5K, and just cut the time and say, can I do that in 30 minutes? So cut the entire erg Ironman and say it's a half erg Ironman, and try it that way and see how close you get to under 30 minutes. And then you can try to ramp it up. What I will say is that it is very much an endurance test. If you are not proficient at skiing and rowing, or you don't understand like your cadence on the bike, like your RPMs, your weaknesses become glaring very fast. And when your technique breaks down, you start to panic, you breathe faster, your heart rate gets up, and then it's pretty much a lost cause. It's just, you're not coming back from that standpoint. So that's where things like just strategy and knowing how long the race is. And for us here, full disclaimer, we've rowed marathons and half marathons. We've skied them. We've had people here ride the erg bikes for 100,000 meters at a crack. So when you've been on these machines sometimes for, 2 hours in a row, 3 hours in a row, an hour and a half at a time, it makes the 20-minute races and the hour-long races not seem as daunting. But if you're somebody who's only ever, rowed 1,000 meters, now we're asking you to do a 5K as part of a race that actually has, 20,000 meters in it, it can seem very daunting. And again, none of this is necessary for any of you guys to try or to do. But if you're looking for challenges that you can do anytime, anywhere, at any age, these are all of them. Now, depending on how good you do in the scores and the times that we throw out, they're irrelevant. All you're trying to do is beat what you did before, and you're just trying to get better. Better at doing pull-ups, better at biking, better at skiing, better at overhead pressing. And that's all they're really trying to do, is just get better. Now, again, even if you're super old, these are all scalable. If you're 77 years old listening to this, these are things you can do. The lifting ones, obviously, we would probably scale them down a little bit. But the endurance ones, you can do these. Your time is just slower. That's all it is. And I say forever because at some point, you're probably not going to do all the same stuff you've always done. And I'm not saying you can't always go do trail runs, or you always can't go run on concrete. But at some point, that might be too much risk, versus reward. There might be too much wear and tear on the joints. And admittedly, I don't go play competitive basketball anymore. I don't, my core group of friends, they don't live here. And even if they did, they're probably too out of shape and they're too old to run like they used to, or just they got kids and jobs and travel and shit. And to get 10 of us all together at one time and remain injury free is probably very difficult. But so while we can't go hoop anymore and play on a 95-foot court and run up and down, just because it would look like garbage and we'd be too tired. I mean, maybe like a half court kind of sequence or like a mini court. You can come in here and ski and row and bike, and the risk of injury is almost none. And you can do it at a very, very hard clip, and you can do it in a safe and efficient way, and it's challenging, and everybody can kind of be part of it. Essentially, it's what we do on our Sundays here in our advanced Metcon. And that's really why I'm sharing this, is just these are the worst, best workouts you're not doing, but you can try at any point. And again, these are, mainly strength tests of the upper body with the Mantathlon, and then the triathlon is like your sprint version. And then obviously the Erg Ironman is a pure guts race and endurance test. The lower body one I'll share real quick before I let you guys go. There's two of them. I got it from BJ Gadour. His was the half your body weight goblet squat, 10 reps every minute on the minute for 30-minute challenge. That is easily one of the top, 3 or 4 lower body workouts I've ever done. So again, same thing applies. You weigh yourself. So for me, I weigh about 210 pounds today. I would grab a 100-pound dumbbell, or we do have 106-pound kettlebells, and you're going to goblet squat with that. So you're going to hold it, pack it tight to the chest, 10 full range of motion reps, every minute on the minute for 30 minutes. It's 300 reps in a half hour at half your body weight, or with that 100-pound dumbbell. If you're a little over 200 pounds, you want to grab a 100-pound dumbbell, there's no shame in that. I don't think you're taking the easy way out. In fact, I would urge you to do that. just because holding the dumbbell is much easier. And I know this doesn't sound like much, but when you get to like round 11, 12, 13, you're going to see what I'm talking about. It makes a huge difference. Gripping it becomes tough. Your shoulders are smoked, and your abs are just lit because it's tough to breathe when you're contracted so tight. And the dumbbell is just an easier grip than the kettlebell, at least in my opinion, especially ours because we have the rubber hexes versus just the kettlebell itself. Even when you use chalk, the dumbbell is easier. Very few people can do that. Very few people listening to this can do half your body weight, 10 reps every minute on the minute for 30 minutes. I don't know more than a handful of people personally that can do that. And I know a lot of very fit people. That's just extremely challenging. When you're getting close to the 20-minute mark, it's like completely metabolic, man. Like you literally are in blackout mode. You're not even a human anymore. You're just on a mission, sent back in time. You're John Connor. You're just trying to kill the Terminator. That's really like all you can do. You're just seeing red basically for 10 straight fucking minutes. It is a brutal workout. I've probably done it 5 times. And if I'd be honest, if you said I had to do that, every other week, I would probably fail at it 30 to 40% of the time, just because you got to feel good and you got to be in the right mindset to do it. And not only that, you have to feel really good that day and be willing to feel like a bag of shit afterwards. Again, it's a day ruiner. You just got to go in like, hey, I'm having a great day today. And I'm about to have a bad day. It's like someone just shit in your cereal. It's just like, man, it's tough that's a tough one to swallow, as the day goes on. That is a tough one. And then the second lower body one, this is it. And I'll let you guys get out of here. David Jack shared this with I've told this on this podcast before, but it's probably been 6 or 7 years. We're at dinner. I think we're at maybe like Ruth Chris. We're at a steakhouse, one of them. And like we tend to do, these dinners go on for like 4 or 5 hours. We get together quarterly. It's like our bro time to sit and talk shit about just life, fitness, whatever. And David Jack and his infinite, fitness Jesus wisdom, he's like, yeah, we did this lower body workout. You guys should try. And he says it to me, and it doesn't sound bad at the time. Like, I didn't think it sounded easy, but I didn't think it sounded, catastrophic to your legs. But it was. I found out the hard way, for sure. And now I don't underestimate anything. When someone describes something to me, I'm always like, how awful would that be? And then I try to draw context to it. In my brain, I try to make it worse than it is. And then if I do it and it's not, it's setting expectations is what it is. I assume every day I wake up, it's going to be a shitty day. And if it's a good day, I won. I'm playing with house money. So he describes this workout. It's all body weight. So there's that. And it's for time, as quickly as you can do it. Now, again, the key is full range of motion. So it's 40 steps of walking lunges, full range of motion. We do patella taps here because we have turf and rubber flooring. I like it better that way because it gives me a reference point for full range of motion. If you don't feel like getting your knee back fully to the ground, that's fine. You do whatever your full range of motion is, but don't bullshit yourself and do basically just, crappy walking steps and say they're doing lunges, because that's not what this is. It's 40 walking lunges, so 20 per leg, and then it's 20 full range of motion body weight squats. We put a Dynamax ball down, and your ass touches the Dynamax ball every rep. If you're a bigger guy, I did this with Ben Novak. Ben's 6'9". We gave Ben like a bigger bench or box just because I do think it's ridiculous for him, just for, biomechanically, or if you want to call it that, or his physiology, or just his femur length alone is going to be much longer than mine. So his distance to travel is insanely long. And I don't think it's beneficial for him to squat that low. So I'm 6'2". I'm probably the cap for the Dynamax ball. Even for me, it's a little bit low, I think, but that was the metric we did it. We did it in a group. So you do the 40 walking lunges, 20 body weight squats. Then you take off 2 from the lunges, 1 from the squats. I've shared part of this on Instagram before, usually in a Metcon, but it cut in half. Then you do 38 walking lunges. You do 19 squats. Then you do 36 walking lunges, 18 squats. 34 walking lunges, 17 squats. You can see where this is going. And eventually you get to 0. It is an insane amount of volume. And by the end, you are just, your legs are so full of blood, you're like a fucking baby deer. I mean, you're like, you watch those people at the end of a marathon who are like collapsing, like it looks like they're just shit-faced drunk. Like that's what you are at the end. You are barely alive. And not only that, because the volume is so high, and I don't I'll do walking lunges here for like 10 minutes a crack. On a day I'm lazy, maybe 20 minutes a crack, but it's at my own pace, even though with step ups and stuff like that. I don't do that. And what I'm describing to you is so much more volume. Your legs are just trash for like 3 days. I mean, just like you started lifting again, they're tender to the touch. I mean, your quads, it's like you can't even lay a barbell on them. It's brutal. You know what I'm talking about when you first started lifting and you first squatted or you first lunged and you sat in the toilet and your ass was like tender when you sat in the toilet seat? That's where you're going back to. Take it back to the beginning, my friends. And for that, time-wise, I mean, under 25 minutes, you're flying. If it's closer to 20 minutes, I don't think we've ever done it here where someone was under 20 minutes. I could be wrong with that. It's just been a long time since we've done it just because it's so brutal. And you have to get really advanced people to go through that. So if you're going to start it, I would say start at like half the load, like maybe 20 walking lunges and 10 squats just to see where that's at, which is the much easier version of it, obviously, because the front half is where you die. I mean, when you're going from 40 lunges to 30 lunges, that's a long journey. Like that's a difficult ride to be on for sure, especially if you're not used to the volume. But those, my friends, are essentially 5 workouts, 5 of the worst, best, or the best, worst workouts you're not doing, or you could try. The Mantathlon from Martin Rooney, the Triathlon from us, the Erg Ironman, the 30-minute half your body weight EMOM goblet squat challenge, or the 40 lunge 20 squat body weight -2 -1 waterfall to zero, race to zero kind of countdown. Those are 5 to put in your back pocket. If you're a savage, they're for you. If you're somebody who runs like a small group training and you got a bunch of really, really fit people in there who know what they're getting into, this is an option for them. But again, all these are scalable. All of these can kind of go anywhere at any time. And all of these are in our app. So you guys can jump in, you can try them at any time, but they're good. They're just good challenges to throw in there and just kind of see where you're at fitness wise. And again, the loads don't matter. The times don't matter. All you're doing is competing with yourself, trying to be the best version of who you are. And then can I be better this time than I was last time? And sometimes you'll do that and you'll make great progress. And sometimes you'll fail and you'll get to the point where you're probably the fastest you're going to be. And in order to kind of break through that next threshold, you have to mentally go to a different area. You know, it's like you got to visit your pain cave and you probably got to live there for a long period of time. I look at these workouts, you know, if I give you like an analogy, it's like you're swimming, right? And it's like, how far out into the water can you go, you know, before you drowned? And at least here, you're not actually going to die and drown. Like you do that in the ocean, you'll get to a point where like you can't even see shore anymore. And you're like, fuck, I probably swam out too far. For here, at least you get an idea of like where your threshold is and what you can do. And like, how much power do I have for a short distance, for a medium distance, and a long distance? And how hard can I go and for how long? And how fast does my strength leave me? And what are the lifts I'm great at or not great at? And if nothing else, this gamifies the grinding part of fitness. Now, I want you guys to all go do shit you love, if it's pickleball or yoga or basketball or hiking or, you know, fucking hacky sack, whatever you're into. Like, do whatever you like. But for me, to gamify the sessions and to gamify the training keeps it fun, not just for me, but for the people I work with and serve. And it gets people to come back and keep going. And there's a, you know, the carrot you're always chasing aspect. And there's the competitive aspect to it that keeps it not boring and not mundane. Again, because at the end of the day, it's all the same stuff over and over and over again. Wash, rinse, repeat. But these are nice little breakups. And it's nice to have a challenge. And again, you're only competing with yourself. And that's really all we can ask of any of you guys and any of us. So hopefully you guys got some value from that. This was not the episode I planned on doing today. Let me check my shout out to my not working internet at Cox here. You guys are fucking still crushing here as we get through this episode. I think that's everything I had for the most part on the docket for you guys. Just a couple quick reminders. One, next Sunday? Next Sunday, Dr. Geyer will be here talking about whatever he talks about. I don't even know. We'll find out. Him and I will just start talking and we'll see where it goes. No, we're going to talk about recovery. We're going to talk about tissue work, your fascia, injuries, training around injuries, coming back from injuries, being healthier, having a a healthy mobility routine, stretching routine, taking care of yourself. He's a doctor by trade, Dr. Fascia. He actually owns the name of it. That's actually his handle. He's worked on my body a lot over the last 15 years, gotten me out of a lot of jams, made things work correctly. He has a good understanding of the body and movement and how it works and how everything is interconnected. And he'll share a lot of unique things with you guys. So I think you guys will dig it. If you're looking for, to get a better understanding of injury and injury prevention and fighting some of the aches and pains and the nagging things that are dragging you down and making training not as fun or keeping you out of the gym or keeping you away from your favorite activities, he's a good guy to go to. He literally is the number one person I refer to here over the past 15 years to clients who are having like, hey, I got tennis elbow, or hey, this is bothering me in my neck. And it's not like this structural thing. He's the first kind of line of defense. If I can't fix it here with basic SMR and mobility drills, he's my first person I send him to. So you guys will get a lot out of the episode for sure. Again, reminders, Old Man Strength Program is kicking off here tomorrow. Link is in the show notes. You guys can join it. I'd love to see you in there. 10 weeks. We'll do a lot of testing, a lot of fun stuff. We'll get you strong, keep you healthy, especially as you guys get older. If you want free samples of AG1 or anything else, hit me up. Everyone else is in the show notes, our creatine sponsors, our homies at JLab, and anything else I'm forgetting. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you guys as always. And by the way, I won T-shirt of the day today. It is a Contra T-shirt, but what they did was they put Stallone's face and Arnold's face on the Contra cover. Like, this is all time. If someone asked me, like, what's the one thing that bothers me about what I do, is that when I wear a T-shirt like this, I don't get 1,000 comments about how fucking awesome it is. That's the one thing. I don't care if you hate how I talk or what I do for my business or the T-shirts that I make suck. It bothers me that you don't appreciate how awesome these, like, I wore an Uncle Buck T-shirt here for the last podcast. Like, 100 people should have messaged me like, that's amazing. So either I think Uncle Buck is way more awesome than he is, or you guys just don't understand what you're missing. And if you don't, this T-shirt for sure. Like, this is, if you didn't play Contra as a kid, you and I probably aren't friends anyway. But hopefully you did. You still remember the code: up, down, left, right, ABAB, select start. I think for infinity lives, because you can't beat it without it. Anyways, Sean's looking at me like, what the fuck are we talking about? But yeah, you guys hit me up for the AG1 samples. Anything else, just ask. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you guys as always. If you're on Apple Podcasts, leave it a 5-star, drop a comment there. If you're on Spotify, obviously leave me a comment there. It's super helpful as well. And if you guys really love what we do, go on Google Reviews. The link's always here below. It takes you 30 seconds. Leave a review. Hey, man, just write Jeremy podcast good, or Jeremy's great, or whatever you think, or he doesn't suck that bad, and 5-star it. I think that's good enough. It helps our business selfishly. So we appreciate you guys as always. If you need something from me, hit me up. Otherwise, you guys have an amazing rest of your Sunday. And until next time, eat well, train hard, be nice to people. And please, you guys, keep doing shit you love with people you enjoy, because your life is too short not to. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.